Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We've got our points for Wave 4 as well as our points overall for X-Wing 2nd Edition. Lots of new points, lots of updates, lots of changes, as well as a lot of news that came out of the live stream today, talking about everything from Wave 5 to Wave 6 to Epic to Gen Con news, release dates, the Wave 4 drama, all of that. So we're going to kind of talk about a lot of that. So I also do want to remind you guys there is the Amazon giveaway going on right now for a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Let me know what you're most surprised about as far as points here. Let me know what you think they got right or they got wrong, or if somebody else, agree with somebody else, or you can differentiate with somebody else. But let's talk about these points and what are you most surprised about with all of these points. Also, we're going to talk about Wave 6 a little bit here, but I'm probably going to do most of that in another video. But they did say. So let's talk about the future news before we really dive into the points here, because they said Wave 6 is going to be announced at Gen Con in the in-flight report. They also said they're going to be streaming the in-flight report, which is, it's good for them, but it kind of like I was, going to stream it. So I'll stream it too in case maybe they edit something. Maybe somebody falls down and they change, they turn off their live stream. Mine will still be going. But yeah, so you can probably get, and there's there's going to be a lot of streamers. They're streaming the live in-flight report, so you can check mine out. You can check theirs out. You can check them all out, and that's certainly something to check out. Wave 6 will be announced. Card packs are confirmed for X-Wing. They were soft confirmed before, but now they're going to announce something with card packs at Gen Con. That much is good. They're going also to be giving us some huge ship news soon. And now Epic ships are not going to be called Epic anymore. They're going to be called huge ships. The Epic format, that whole thing, that is going to be later this year. We're going to start seeing that. There's going to be staggered releases for that. Wave 5 is expected in third quarter, which might end up meaning that it's a Gen Con release. But they also said Wave 6, even though it hasn't been announced yet, they're expecting Wave 6 to be out before the end of the year, which is really cool. So, lots and lots of X-Wing, future fuge stuff, and future fuge stuff, making up new words, hashtag future fuge. If you can figure out how to spell that, I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comments below. But a lot of points upgrades here. Some things were changed pretty significantly. The Rebel Falcon, lost its illicit. So that's interesting. They wanted to differentiate it from some of the other stuff, and there was some, they don't want inertial dampeners on Han now, unless of course it's maybe, the Han from a different faction like Scum or Resistance. But if you go to Fantasy Flight Games, you can see their the points costs. You can also see that there's proposed points costs and the actual points costs. But we're going to look at some of them. So first I have the generic points. We're going to take a look at these, and I'm not going to touch on everything. But one of the things we're going to look at with a lot of the generic points, well, some things went down, some things went up. We've seen R2 Astromech went up a little bit. Tactical Officer went up a little bit. Hate went up. I can definitely see hate. Hate was a thing. And it definitely went up. And it's one of the variable point costs. Certain generic cards that were taken a lot on certain platforms to make them more powerful went up. Inertial dampeners went up in every category. Veteran turret gunner went up, and then you're going to see a lot of commonly taken ordnance went up a lot too. Debris gambit went up. Swarm tactics, proton torpedoes even went up. Dorsal turret, ion cannon turret. So we're going to see some things like that, and some of the other ordnance that we're going to see that may not be, that was taken very commonly will have gone up as well. Yes, that's the generic stuff. But some of the more interesting stuff we're in Resistance here right now. We're also going to see some of the new stuff too. For our RZ2 A-Wing, Lulo went up, Tally Lintro went up, Green Squadron and Blue Squadron went up. But some of our Star Fortresses went down, and a couple of our X-Wings went down as well. And as we go down a little bit more, we're going to see some of the new stuff. We've got, for example, anything that's in blue over like where it says hyperspace legal or whatever, that's a lot of our newer stuff. So we can see like our Resistance Transport, for example. We got all of the points for the Resistance Transport. It looks like we can have, in the Transport Pod, BB-8 is at 26 points. Rose Tico, 26. Vi Maradi 27. So for an initiative 1 too, so that's interesting. And Finn is at 29. So we're about under 30 points for all of those. They can take the tech, a crew, a mod, and EPT on everybody but Vi, which is really interesting that BB-8 gets an EPT. I'm just pointing that out. He's a droid, and I didn't think he was an elite pilot. But there you go, a talent. It's not really called an EPT. I see this is the 1.0 in me still carrying over. But for the transport, we're getting 2 crew, we're getting cannon, and we are getting also a torpedo, and the tech, and an astromech. So no astromech on the pod itself, but astromech inside the transport. And of course mod. And our only pilot to get the talent is Kova Nell. So it's funny that some of our other pilots don't get the talent, but BB-8 does. So that's pretty interesting. But one of the biggest things that's really interesting here is Leia. Leia went up. She went up in the Rebels too, and we'll talk about that. But Leia went up here. I mean, I say went up. Leia's the most expensive crew in the game at 19 points and 2 crew slots. Very, very expensive. I mean, she's great though. She's awesome. But yeah, 19 points. Very, very expensive for Leia Organa. For Resistance, the Resistance Leia. For First Order, a lot of our TIE FOs went down. Almost all of them. Our TIE SFs, everybody that wasn't quick draw went down. And the silencers, a lot of the silencers went down. And so that much is interesting. Our Upsilons almost all went up, which is, I can understand that. We also got, let's see, what else do we get? We didn't get anything else really for First Order. They didn't get any new ships. They just got a resculpted ship, a smaller TIE Silencer in Wave 4. For the Rebels, we got points adjustments all over the place. Some of our B-Wings went up. The named B-Wings went up. A lot of the ARC 170s went down. Dutch went up. Warden Squadron for the K-Wing went down, but our named pilots... Warden Squadron went up, named pilots went down. E-Wings, a couple of those went down a little bit. Always thought the generic E-Wings were dramatically overcosted anyway, so it's nice to see them going down a little bit. HWKs went down. Let's see, a T-65 Wedge. So this is something they were talking about too. A lot of the Initiative 6 pilots were kind of reevaluated, and a lot of them have gone up, but not by too much. Wedge is up, but only to 55 right now. Only to 55. So that's pretty interesting. I'm curious what you guys think about Wedge being at 55 points. Do you think he should be higher than that? Let me know in the comments. Cassian is up to 51. Here's the Falcon. It lost its illicit, but it did gain a second mod. So that's going to be interesting because this makes it stand out from the other Falcons a little more. And that it's then there's not very many ships that can take more than one mod. So that'll be interesting to kind of play around with builds and see what we can come up with there. A lot of our crew here have changed. We're looking at Leia went up. So Leia went up to 6, which is fine. I think that's a pretty good spot for her. I could see her maybe being 7, but 6s. So I think 6 is fine. And of course, the beauty is if she needs to change again, then they can change her again. Maul went up to 12. R2-D2 went up to 10. Saw went up. Ezra went down. Ezra Gunner went down. So that's something. All right, we're going to move on. Galactic Empire. Major Vendor went up. Our TIE Advanced B1s, our Inquisitor's TIEs, went down, while Darth Vader went up. Again, we're looking at, they're talking about a lot of those Initiative 6s. Soontir Fel went up a little bit. Aggressors went down, and then Defenders all went down too, which they're still very high, so it's it's not that big a deal. Phantoms all went up a little bit. Scimitar went down, or the one bomber went down, and the Decimators all went down in cost and gained a crew slot. So now the Decimators are looking at 3 crew, and this is going to be important because a lot of the Imperial crew also went down. A lot of crew here: Sloane, Callus, Sienna Ree, Krennic, Jar Jarrod. A lot of them, they've all gone down. Now Palpatine is still at 11, but yeah, a lot of those crew went down. That's going to allow for a lot of new builds. hopefully maybe getting decimators in there, especially since decimator is one of the new ships. And it makes me wonder if, did they make it a little bit too good in hopes that people will rush out and buy a whole bunch of new decimators now? Why would they do that? Oh, it's like they want to make money. Imagine that. But I don't know. That's just a first thought. I haven't really tried to put builds together for it to see if it's been skewed a little bit too far towards being overpowered or not. For Scum, we've seen a lot of IG-88s go down. We do have Drea Renthal went up to 49. And then they were looking at a lot of the abilities that would scale for a whole fleet and do a lot of different things. It's one of the reasons Leia for the Rebels was changed. Our fire sprays all went down, which is really cool. HWKs here, almost all of them went down except for Pablo Hidalgo. We did get a gunner on the Jump Master. The Jump Masters, most of them went down a little bit too. We got an extra illicit on the Curax, but they're sitting at just 2 mods and 2 illicits now. So some changes, and also as well as a point reduction here. I know some people who aren't super crazy about that, but that's what it is. We'll just adjust. 2 illicits still on the Lancer, but the points have gone down for Lancers. But there was no change with illicits, so I don't know why I mentioned that. Just because I'm just looking at things because I was looking too far above and I thought I saw blue. The Kamagula, or Kimogila, but I like saying Kamagila, went down. And as we go down a little bit more, we're going to see some Skurgs, Lock Revenant, and Guri went up. Guri was always the best for the Star Viper. I always loved her. The party bus went down a little bit, which is pretty cool. And let's see. And we're looking at R5TK is free. That's nice, right? I didn't even notice that before. And of course, Maul went up, but we already talked about Maul. Shadowcaster title went down a little bit. And then there's like a summary of changes and things that were removed at the end. Whereas the Curax lost its 3rd mod slot. Okay, so let's jump over. Now we got some of our new faction stuff. And this is cool because these we haven't seen yet. A lot of changes to Separatists. Bella Belubs went down, but some of our Sith infiltrators like Maul and Dooku went up. And they were very popular. I mean, I loved flying Maul with Hate, and both Maul and Hate have both gone up. And Dooku Crew and he went up too. So like running Maul with Hate and Dooku, it's gonna be a lot more expensive now. Okay, we'll see. I might still do it. Vulture droids all went down. But one of the things they were looking at doing was increasing the cost of things that you might want to put. Like energy shell charges have gone up. So if you were trying to run a whole bunch of vultures all with energy shell charges, well, now you can run vultures cheaper, but those charges are going to be a little bit more expensive. And part of that was because of the bombers coming out. So we've got them. Let's see, what else do we have here? Separatist Alliance or Hyena class bomber. Okay, well, our Hyena bombers are here. Now, they're not in blue because they haven't changed, but they are new. And the cool thing is, as we look at all these Hyena bombers here, we're going to notice that they're all different. Well, they're mostly all different. So, our Hyena class droid bomber, our DBS 404, they all have the configuration slot. They all have the modification, which is cool. But only some of them can bomb, right? 404 has a missile, a torpedo, and a device, I suppose. I'm so used to calling that bombs. 32 Charlie, DBS 32 Charlie has the relay and the system, but no devices, no ordnance, no missiles, no torps, nothing. The bombardment drone has the system and 2 bomb slots, but no torpedoes and then the Bactoid prototype has 2 missiles, but no torpedoes and no bomb. Right? Your Separatist bomber has a torpedo, missile, and a bomb, and so does your Techno-Union bomber. So you have some that are more well-rounded, some that are geared more towards missiles, some that are geared towards bomb, one that has none of that. So that's pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. And their points, they're ranging from we're looking at the Bactoid prototypes are only 28, so that's not bad especially for 2 missiles. Bombardment drones 32, Separatist bomber 29, 26 for the Techno-Union bomber. That's so you're running the generics, you can get them for 26. It's not bad. It's not as cheap as the Vulture droids, but then again, if you're trying to load them up with our ordnance, it's going to make it even more expensive because energy shell charges are up to 5 now. Discord missiles went down a little bit though, so that's going to be fun. They want you to, but they didn't sell enough Vulture droids. They want you to buy more Vulture droid boxes. That's why. We've got Treacherous in there at 2. Soulless 1 went down to 6. And lastly, let's take a look at the Galactic Republic. Oh, all right. So some changes with some of the ARC 170s. A lot of the named pilots went down. The Anakin, again, at Initiative 6, went up to 62. But the other Delta 7s went down. So they're really trying to play with initiative here. Because Obi-Wan's still really good. Obi-Wan and Mace are both still really good. And I like that they went down a little bit. But Anakin is still at 6. And it's hard to pass on an Initiative 6 on a ship that is kind of fragile, especially in some of the other things they've done to this ship. So if you want to run Anakin, especially in the 7B, you're going to have a hard time because that one went up too. So there's that. Now our N1, here we go. We've got our N1 points. N1's a little more expensive. A little more expensive than I was expecting, to be completely honest with you, because, like, dude, it's like in the same ballpark as the Delta 7. Right, we've got Ahsoka at 47 points. You've got generic Jedi Knight in a Delta 7 for 38 points, where some of the N1s are well over 38 points. So I'm a little surprised. I thought the N1 might have been a little cheaper. But what do I know? I don't know a whole lot of anything. So we have Padme at 45 points. And she's not even that high of initiative, but she has that whole, she can affect your whole fleet. Now, these all may change, too, because these are just the starting points for these. But you've got talents, system, torpedoes, and astromech. So you're getting some pretty good. Upgrade slots. You got Rick Ollier, 42 points. Anakin, little kid Anakin. Now here's a cool thing though. Kid Anakin does not have a Force ability. He is a Force user. He's got a Force rank of 1, but he cannot take a Force power. He takes a talent instead. Now, if you've seen my unboxing for the N1, you'll know that his quick build card does actually have a Force and a talent both. And I was speculating that this would be one of those deals where the quick build deliberately changes what's illegal. And so I kind of like that they're doing that, but because it's fun. It's just something goofy to play around with. But Anakin does not have Force. Padme has a talent. Danae has a talent as well. They're going from 34 all the way up to 45. So there's the N1s. If you're going to run handmaidens, trying to have them be decoys and stuff, it's going to cost you 88 points for 2 handmaidens, plus, potentially another one. So you could easily spend your whole list in just running 3 N1s with decoys and, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I kind of want them to be a little cheaper. But what do I know? Again, Swoop gained a talent, while a lot of the V19s went down in cost. I think they figured that a lot of these guys were slightly overcosted. Delta 7B went up in points across the board, whereas calibrated laser targeting went down in price. And I like that, because I always thought Delta 7B was so much better than the calibrated laser targeting, even though because the calibrated laser targeting was very situational, whereas this Delta 7B is just you always get an extra die, so that's cool. Battle meditation went down also, and that's cool as well. Dedicated went down, and there we go. They're talking about your Delta 7 point. I just like how they're kind of outlining. All right, well, even if your initiative 0, it's going to cost 14 points. So, but if your initiative for Anakin, it's going to be 20 more points, so 20 points for Anakin to run the 7B. Plus, Anakin went up. It's going to be expensive. And battle meditation's. It went down, but it's still expensive. So maybe you'll run Anakin with battle meditation. I don't think you need it. I don't think you need it on him because I've done it before. It's fun, but it's just something I didn't use enough to justify that extreme cost. I think the Delta 7 has already got enough repositional abilities in there that you don't need it on that particular ship. But that's what I think. All right, guys. Well, you can get all this stuff on fantasyflightgames.com, and you can check out all the points, too. They're not in the app yet. They're probably going to wait until the 12th of July when the official Wave 4 release happens, and you can buy the stuff worldwide. They did acknowledge in this live stream, that was yesterday, they did acknowledge that Wave 4 kind of got messed up. They delayed Wave 4's release date so that they could have the same day release across the globe, and it didn't go as planned with some other countries and certain retailers like Barnes and Noble releasing it right away. So I think they they counted that. They know it. And that's just, it is what it is. All right, guys, I want to thank you all for watching, and let me know what you think of these points. What do you think they did right? What do you think they did wrong? What are you looking forward to at a Gen Con? What can we expect from these card packs, right? I mean, it's a lot of stuff I need to talk about. I'm probably going to do another video talking about Wave 6 predictions and what do we think we'll see out of the card packs. Will the card packs have just existing stuff, or will the card packs have all new stuff? Because we know that they had said in the past that they were going to do some extra pilots. I think it's time for more pilots. That's what I think. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.